Welcome to another video, everybody. My name is Zach, and this video is going to be part of a series, and it's mainly going to be about the fact that I just bought a track ticket for a track day, and I'm also going to get rid of my car. So you might be thinking, that doesn't make any sense. I like to not make sense. So here's what happened. Let me give you the full story here. Jet sends me a list of track days. He's like, hey, what about all these? And I'm like, hey, anything within the next month I can't do because my car is not legal and ready to race. And anything after August and later I can't do because I'll be having a baby. So basically, July is the only month I could really do a track day. And then he's like, hey, what about this one? It's the 5 mile. And I was like, oh, dang. And I was like, dang, let's look at this. Dang. And then we got into the details and I was like, dang, this sounds too perfect. Thunderhill Raceway, if you're familiar, has Thunderhill East, which is a 3-mile racetrack. Thunderhill West is a 2-mile racetrack. And then there's a skid pad where they do drift stuff. And there's a much bigger skid pad where they mostly do autocross, but they also do drifting there as well. So it's a pretty big place. And if an event organizer decides to, they can rent out East and West, and they can open this little bypass and do a 5-mile racetrack. So they combine the 3 and the 2, you get 5. Pretty cool. Jet has never done it. He's been going Thunderhill since before I was alive. I've never done it, because I've only done East once and West once and a bunch of autocross. And moral of the story is it doesn't happen very often because they would have to rent out both tracks. When it does happen, it's usually really expensive because a normal track day is $200, $300, $400. So if you're doing 2 tracks at once, they're usually, I don't think I've seen one for less than like $500. Sure, someone will hop in the comments and be like, I did it for $70. Well, you're either dumb or wrong or both. But in all seriousness, it's very rare there's a 5-mile, and if they do come up, they're really expensive. So anyways, Jet hits me up and he's like, hey, I signed up for the 5-mile and it's $230. And I was like, dang, I've paid more than that to do one of the tracks, let alone both at the same time. So my financially illiterate, irresponsible ass signed up for the track day just because it was so cheap. Such a good deal I couldn't pass up. I thought I have to have this because it's so cheap. So I signed up for the track day. And then I decided to part out my car. So in a few minutes here, we'll get down into the Integra and I'll point out all of the things wrong with it and why I'm going to part it out. But the moral of the story here is it was a 5-mile track day, which is awesome. It was really cheap. It's on my birthday and I'm irresponsible, so I signed up for it. Which means I'm giving myself about 4 weeks here to part out my car, buy a new car, get it track ready, and then full send it on the longest track that I've ever done. So that's going to be really fun. What we're going to do here is I'm going to update you guys and let you know how the process is going. And my goal is if I can part out my Integra in about 2 weeks, then that gives me like 2 more weeks to buy one and then a week to get a track ready. I think that works. I think that makes sense. Because I do need to get rid of all or most of my car before I can buy another one due to space and money. But this is part 1, baby. This is part 1 of 5. So stay tuned. Let's kick off part 1. So I got up on the computer over here my Thunderhill East footage from my green Integra, which was 3 years ago now. God damn, that's crazy. But anyways, I think that was the last real track day I did, not counting autocrosses. 3 years. Wow, that sucks. That's what I need a track car. I need a running, reliable Integra, which segues into the next point of why I'm getting rid of mine. To recap, for those of you who don't know, The current Acura Integra GSR that I have is the 7th or 8th Integra I've owned. And when I bought this car, it had been smashed in the front and the battery was dead. It didn't start, all of that stuff. Engine didn't turn over by hand. Tyler helped me pick up this car. We got it home, threw a wrench on the engine. Sure enough, engine doesn't turn over at all, doesn't budge. I tried a few things just to make sure, starter wasn't jammed, stuff like that, and the engine was definitely seized. So within the first few weeks of owning this car, I took the engine out. I put in an engine that I already had, put a good battery in it, and it would turn on but not start. I knew my new engine was good. So then the next thing I had to do was figure out the aftermarket alarm that I didn't have a fob for or anything, but it was still installed in the whole car. Got that out and it started. So engine swap, battery, get rid of alarm, vehicle now starts and runs. I threw a couple other things on it. I think the axles were all busted out, so I threw those in there. At this point it's running, driving. Now I can drive it. I find out third gear grinds a little bit sometimes, so that's a little bit of an issue. And then I'm trying to get this car to pass smog. And in the amount of time that I had the car, the second time I went to the DMV to try and get this process rolling and pay registration so there's no back fees, second time I went, they were like, hey, you need a brake and lamp inspection now too because this car was in an accident. So because I had the car for so long, the accident finally made it to the DMV and they were aware of it, even though it was just a little smash on the front. And what that means is I already had to smog it because it was a transfer of title, but now because of the accident I had to do a brake and lamp inspection, which leads to the biggest problem. So I've been trying to get smog monitors set for a while, but really trying hard the last couple of weeks. Did thermostat swap DCU, did drive cycles. The next thing I was going to do was O2s because they're reading pretty weird. But I decided I'm giving up, which I hate to do. I hate to send a car to the junkyard. I hate to give up on something, but the reason is even if I get this thing to pass smog with some O2 sensors and some more stuff, I have ABS and SRS codes. So amongst trying to get this car to pass smog, I swapped out the dash harness because the dash harness that was in this car had a whole bunch of stuff missing. The whole thing was wrapped in electrical tape, so they obviously modified the whole thing. And so I put a known good dash harness in it. Once I did, I had an SRS and ABS light on, which I didn't with the modified harness, right? So something tricky there with resistors or whatever they did. Moral of the story is, to get this car to pass brake and lamp, I can't have SRS or ABS lights on, which means I'm looking at potentially hours and hundreds of dollars more in parts, or like $1,000 in parts. It's disappointing, but SRS control unit, fault codes, lights, ABS control unit, fault codes, lights, won't set smog monitors. The car doesn't have any AC components on it, because that's how I bought it. The car doesn't have any power steering components on it other than the rack, because that's how I bought it. Someone just tied the tube on the rack to the other tube on the rack. So, and the front end on this car is still a little rough. The right rear quarter panel is all Bondo. It's too much, and this car's kind of too far gone, which, I really wanted to bring it back from the dead. It makes me very sad that I can't do that. Although when I bought it, it wasn't running, so I somewhat brought it back, but it was really just, it's been too ruined by too many people, unfortunately. And I don't have the time or resources to bring it back. So I'm going to cut my losses now, even though I've already paid, a few $100s in registration on it. I've had it on my insurance for a while because I've been driving it to try and set the smog monitors. And, I want to be somewhat legal driving it. So at this point, I need to cut my losses and buy a running GSR that is already running and passes smog so that I can have a running track car that I can drive when I want, modify one day. When I have the time and money and resources, I will have to resurrect 3 Integras to set my record straight, even the balance sheet. I don't know. There's some metaphor that fits right there, but I'll have to bring a handful of them back to life so that I feel okay about myself. Hopefully what this means is I will have a cooler running Integra soon, which means more track days and more Integra content, which obviously I haven't posted an Integra video in forever because I can't do anything with the car. So stay tuned in a minute here. We're gonna get ripping on this Integra. All right, we made it down to the garage. Got my gloves that came in yesterday from Amazon because I ran out, and I'm gonna be getting pretty dirty in here over the next couple of days. So we need to strip headlights, bumper, fenders, hood, engine, transmission, battery, radiator. I might steal that reservoir since it's brand new. Excuse me, master cylinder with reservoir, brand new. All the hoses and stuff that I've replaced. Wheels and tires got to come off. Not sure which ones I'll send it to the junkyard with. I do have another set over there, but I kind of want to keep those. I think I'm gonna try and get some Steelies to send it to the junkyard on. But yeah, this car has a lot of issues. Got no AC. Power steering's tied together down there. You can't really see. JDM front clip is a little damaged. I do have another cross member though. But anyways, let's get into it. I'm going to take some videos first of it running, just to make it a little easier to sell the engine. So like, hey, this engine works fine. Take a couple videos of it running, and then turn it around, I think. Back it up as far as I can, and then I'll pull the engine out that side just so I have plenty of room. So, do some videos, and then most of the JDM front end off, fenders, bumper, headlights. I just need to cut this off, which I have made room to do. I cut along this ugly covered up weld. I think I can pop most of these welds off. I already popped a few at the pry bar because they were very shittily spot welded on. Move this out of the way. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut, and then try and pop the fronts off. If I can't, I'll grind them. Got my axles out. Radiator cooling system is out. Some of the intake tubing, some vacuum lines, and some harness over there. So we're getting there, pretty close to being able to pull this. What I'm going to do is cut the front end off first. It's going to make pulling this engine way easier because I'll just come straight out the front instead of having to lift it up super high. So pretty stoked about that. But yeah, axles are out, front suspension's put back together so I can set it on the ground when I'm done. And yeah, most of the JDM front end's off. I just gotta cut it and then we'll be good. Making a lot of progress. But I'm starving and I have earned a delicious lunch, so I'm gonna go buy lunch and then we'll check back in. All right, lunch is done. It's hot as fuck in this garage, and I'm really tired and sleepy now from taking a break. But we gotta cut this front end off and get this engine out, so let's get to it. So she's looking pretty naked, but look how easy this motor is going to be to take out. I love it. So I'm gonna try and finish the motor tonight. It's not too much more, or I might just work on the mount in the back, rest of the harness, rest of the fuel line and vacuum lines and stuff, throttle cable. And then maybe I'll just leave it on just these two mounts. Take this one off as well and just leave it on that guy and that guy and that one until tomorrow. Shit, maybe I'll take this one off, the back one, everything else, and then just leave that guy and this guy for tomorrow. Making a ton of progress, and I just love how much room there is right here. I wonder how hard it is to take the front end off. Normally, if it's a USDM car, are these all bullet holes, or I would imagine that front clip is welded, right? I don't know, but man, there's so much room. I'm so stoked about this. But anyways, motor's coming out. This mount's off. Mount in the back unbolted. Shifter has been taken off and dropped down. Had to watch my own previous video to see how to get that bitch pin out right there. Great video, and it helped, and it was super fast. So basically, just have this mount and this mount holding it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can remember where to hook up my chains, and then I'm gonna put this together. And as long as this doesn't take me like 8 hours to put together, we'll pull the engine out. What's going on, boys and girls? This is the end of day one, June 2nd, starting on the car project. So, engine's ready to come out. I got my chain hooked up and installed with a little bit of padding so I don't scratch the crap out of the valve cover. I just have two mount hooked up right now. As you can see, she swings. So basically I'll drop a couple bolts off those mounts, and then the engine should drop down about 2 inches and come right out. So I'll do that tomorrow after I finish putting this together. Start putting the new 2-ton engine hoist together. It's kind of cool. Their stuff comes in red now apparently, instead of just the normal gray like my 12-ton press over there. But yeah, so I got the base together. I put one of the casters on wrong. These rear casters are a little bit bigger and have the locks on them, the brakes on them. And I accidentally put one of the other ones right here on the back, so I had to swap that. And then I'm just dropping nuts and washers, so that means it's time to stop for today. So we'll finish putting this together tomorrow after work, and then we'll pull the engine out. Other than that, I'm just gonna take some more pictures of some parts so I can start listing stuff up for sale tonight. We got axles over here, mounts, cherry picker, extra engine, headlights, strut bar, orange jack, gray, and the whole JDM front end. One big core support, part of a core support, one set of fenders, two sets of fenders, hood, bumper, most of my exhaust, two headlights, two more headlights up here. So we have lots of parts to sell. If anyone wants parts, let me know. ECU, Marco's ECU is in there. I need to give that back to him, Marco. But yeah, kind of cool that they're going with some cool new stuff. They still got the gray in there, just a little bit, but black and red, kind of fucking cool. This is really old Harbor Freight, like 12-year-old Harbor Freight, and that's red and black. This is 4-year-old Harbor Freight, and that's gray. This is 1-year-old Harbor Freight, and that's gray. This is the Daytona, though. This isn't Pittsburgh. That's why it's orange. Those are Daytona, they're black. These are Daytona, and they're black. One more jack stand. Pittsburgh, gray. This Pittsburgh floor jack, low profile 3-ton, is about 15 years old and has absolutely no problems with it. So for anyone questioning the reliability of Harbor Freight, for stuff like this, if it's at your house, if you're running a shop and you're using it multiple times every single day, maybe get a nicer one, but honestly, their floor jacks are amazing. And I mean, how often use an engine puller anyways, right? Pittsburgh all the way. I wouldn't use Pittsburgh sockets or wrenches on a daily basis on stuff at work. Although I've been using their impact sockets today and it's been fine. But again, on aluminum fasteners, aluminum head on fasteners, and high-end European stuff, I'm sorry, I'm not going to use Harbor Freight sockets and wrenches. But again, any of the shop type equipment, yes, freaking great. That thing spent years, not years outside, but I would use it outside. I always kept it in the garage when I lived at home, but I would use it outside in the dirt all the time, in the dirt and the rocks. It's 15 years old probably. Or more, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's old. I'm rambling. We're done with day one. Stay tuned. All right, update, day two. I posted the car on Facebook Marketplace this morning saying I was parting it out, and I've gotten like 50 replies so far. So let's see if we can cut this wheel lock off so we can sell some wheels. Lots of people asking about the wheels, so let's get rid of them. Get this wheel lock off tonight, then the guy is gonna fry these wheels. Unfortunately, I tried grinding it. You can see it's all kind of grinded flat to put a socket or a wrench on there. That didn't work. What I did accomplish while trying to put a socket on there was rubbing the rim, which is horrible. So if you can't tell, I have it set up to weld now. I'm gonna weld this extra lug nut I have onto the end, let that chill for a minute, and then see if we can't get this sucker off. So this is my last resort. Good morning, everybody. We're out here. Day 3. Yesterday I got the cherry picker put together and I got the wheels off. This wheel lock was a bitch. I ended up scratching the wheel a little bit, trying to grind it flat for a wrench. That didn't work. Trying to hammer sockets on, that didn't work. What did end up working is I ended up just having to weld a nut to it, so that did work. I had my first person bail on me yesterday for buying the wheels. Plenty of people interested, so not a huge deal, but the first one has fallen. First person has bailed. We should probably keep a counter on how many people say they're gonna buy something from me and then bail. Because if you've sold anything, especially car parts, you know how it goes. But anyways, what we're doing out here so early in the morning, it's about 6:20, is I have a guy who's supposedly gonna buy this rear bumper and side mirrors today. So what I need to do right now is get them off before I go to work. I'm gonna meet up with them on my lunch break. So I'm gonna pop these off, throw them in the 4Runner, maybe do a quick little workout and then head to work. Day 3. You can see we got no wheels on, no wheels on. Got them stacked up over here. Cherry picker put together. Engine's ready to come out. I'm just waiting for someone who wants to buy it. Rocking and rolling, boys. Another part of the update is I just counted my Facebook messages a couple minutes ago. So this is Tuesday morning, and Monday morning at about 9 o'clock I threw the car up, said parting out, let me know what you want. And I've had 97 messages in 21 hours. All right, boys and girls, on the way to work. Got the bumper in the back along with the side mirrors that I took off this morning, as well as I just kind of cleaned up the area a little bit this morning. But that rear bumper, I'd never taken one off before, I guess, so that was a little bit of a learning experience. Hopefully this guy doesn't bail on me. If I can get rid of these today. We're rocking and rolling on day 3 of this experiment, Tuesday. All right, boys and girls, today is Wednesday, day 4 of this project. We are in Long Beach for Mercedes-Benz factory training, which is cool. But quick update on the Integra. I got off work yesterday on Tuesday, drove home, sold my wheels, drove to the airport, flew to Long Beach. So, which all happened very fast. Didn't even wait in the terminal because they were waiting for me as the last person to get on the plane, which makes sense. That's how I operate. But I sold the wheels and tires after work, and before work Tuesday morning, the little bit of filming you just saw, I did that in the morning and took the bumper and mirrors off. Started at about 6 a.m. so I get those off, and sold those on my lunch break Tuesday. Wheels and tires after work Tuesday. Now we're on Wednesday. I'll be back in town tomorrow after training. We're gonna sell some more parts. So, making progress. We already sold $840 worth of parts off the car. Just gotta sell a few more things and we can buy another car, which would be Integra number 9. That's the update. All right, guys, so those are all the parts we've sold so far. Wheels and tires, rear bumper, side mirrors. Thanks for tuning in. That concludes the end of part 1. Let's see if we can get some more stuff sold and another Integra bot and a track day car going. Thanks for watching. As always, peace.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough